Man, 2020 has felt like the end of the world. And now, the disasters have joined us in Satisfactory. Hello everyone, I'm Kibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory, where last time we started making hundreds of AI limiters for our Crystal Oscillator project, and also designing the next portion of our base. But as I'm sure you might be able to notice, nothing's really moving and grooving anymore. Everything's off. Somehow, someway, I've blown the power grid. And blowing the power grid mid-game is pretty much the biggest disaster that could possibly happen in this game. So remember to leave a like. But yeah, honestly, I don't know how this even happened. We weren't even using half of our power last time, and now disaster is struck. Like, we're using about 12 to 14,000 megawatts, and then when I try and retry the system, everything goes oof. And it seems a few more are running there? I don't know, I guess it's something to do with the turbo fuel, but this doesn't make sense. We didn't even use half of our power. But obviously something's happened, because what I ended up... Oh, wait a second, I know exactly what happened now. So back at base here, I've been load balancing all of the rubber, i.e. just recombining some lines here to make sure that this is all good to go for today's project. And I guess that turned on Petropolis, our supermassive rubber producing city. And since we had everything else in our world on, once that city started revving up, boom, no more power grid. So yeah, this is seriously worst case scenario here. However though, Past Kibs has prepared for such an event. Thank you, brother. And we have a way to get things back online. Well, it was a theoretical way. Honestly, I never thought we'd actually have to use it. But we have our factory's main fuse box here. So right here, all of the power through our entire world is connected and distributed. All through this one main line. This one right there. So now everything in the factory is off, just the power grid is running. So now we can monitor this. We can flip the lever. All right. And we are back running. And hopefully if I was smart, this is gonna start scaling up our power grid to the levels it was at before, because somehow it got drained too far. Oh, so yeah, this is the kind of stuff that should be running right now. All of this. Okay, well that's not good. That means we're running on effectively fumes here. How are we looking? Well, this is disconnected. Well, that shouldn't be the case. All right, that means we have to connect this one up to where? Here? Don't blow the grid. It super blew the grid. Why? 23,000 megawatts. What on earth? That shouldn't be happening. Our entire power grid should be segregated. Like, this floor shouldn't be connected to anything else, right? Well, clearly it has to be. Like, that was the whole point of having the fuse box. In case of this scenario happens, then we can just power on this floor, it makes all the turbo fuel, and then we can power on everything else. Uh-huh. That was the plan until it didn't work. Okay. Yep, now this is a total disaster. Oh yeah, we can't even get back up our base because all the hypertubes are knocked out. Fantastic, we have to use the stairs. I love stairs, oh boy. Okay, but this might still be all right because I've made a backup emergency plan for just such an occasion. We have about 24 fuel generators inside of our base, all hooked up to a massive, massive stockpile of extra turbo fuel. Like, look at all that. Look at all that. And we can switch this bad boy on so we can get our grid up and running. So how do we connect it? Just anywhere? Where's like the start of this? Over here? Oh, do we just connect up the pipes? Do I have pipe stuff? I do. Excellent. All right, there we go. The lights have blinked on. Engines are running. Our last bastion of fuel is going out, so... Oh my gosh, lag. Not right now, please. We're dealing with stuff. Okay, so this needs to connect YOLO just somewhere over here. I should have planned this a little bit better. At least I have wire. That's gonna be clipping. So be it. That's not doing nothing. We connect this up. Oh, this better work. Come on. Why is it 27,000 megawatts? How can this be? All right, we have a hyper, super, omega problem. This is the worst case scenario. All right, we're draining our emergency battery here, so let's just get this disconnected. What's the plan now? What could we possibly do? Number one, I'm gonna have to check over the entire power grid of the entire world and make sure there's no accidental connections. Because this fuse box, again, it should segregate all the power to each floor and each section of the base. So somehow, at some point, I messed that up. Back up here. These supplies now are super limited. This is all we have left. Maybe for a while. So let's just stock up. At least the resource sinks aren't on, so they're not stealing anything either. Well, that's cool. Oh my gosh, this is such a different experience now. It's like, this is it. This is all we have. We've lived in abundance for so long. And now we are so close to the edge. Do I throw that out? I do. These bad habits, man. They're gonna be the end of me. But really, we just need power poles. We need cable. Let's grab more cable. Okay. And I'll head back around checking out the wiring. And well, I happened to find a little tiny issue here. So way back in the day here, we had a bunch of sulfur and coal combining into compacted coal for our power plant. But as you can see, it's not going to the compacted coal for our power plant. And also, somehow, I managed to mix up the line. So everything is completely messed up here. None of it is usable for any kind of power. It's a huge mess, and it's definitely part of what's to blame for our whole outage here. Yeah, because you see down here, yeah, I load balanced everything together for all the refineries, and without this one running, not all of them can run. So that's one thing, our power clearly went low. And then the other thing is, where did I take these? Why did I disconnect this from our system? Where's this going? Straight ahead? Oh! It's making compacted coal for our weapons factory. Ah! Okay, well, we have like literally thousands of Nobelisks and cartridges, so we should be fine with shutting this off then. All right, it has been several hours and one Twitch live stream later, but finally, we're good to go. Great job, past Kibitz and present Kibitz now, in completely obliterating the factory. Literally everything that happened, my fault. I hyper-goofed things real bad. So number one, the coal issue, or the compacted coal issue, was the worst thing. That brought our power production down to about 22,000 megawatts. Then I wasn't even using our circuit breaker right. I still had all the cables connected. So what you have to do really is turn off all the cables, i.e. delete them all, and then replace the cables that have to do with power production, which I've now marked out with beacons. Yes, metal poles going through an electrical outlet. Very smart idea, definitely safe. Would not recommend. But yeah, all of these now mark out, oh, that's the main floor. Mainly mark out the turbo fuel production and the main floor, because this actually makes the compacted coal. So it's a little bit of both. Oh yes, and also I've marked out this one over here because this one goes down to all the trains. And if this power pole goes down to all the trains, that means it powers like this factory, Petropolis, and like all the other mega projects we're gonna be building outside the base. So it's pretty important to mark that one down. All right, so once everything was disconnected, I reconnected the power producing things, like the refineries and such. Got the power back going up to max, now that I had fixed the compacted coal issue. Turned it all back on, and we're running again. Yes, that was an ordeal. Mainly just trying to find out where all of the power poles went to, or like where all these connections went to. Obviously they're not labeled, but now with the labels, yeah, we're all good. So TLDR, what happened was mainly the compacted coal was not running, so we weren't making enough turbo fuel. Once we got everything running, we're using 24,000 megawatts-ish, and our production was 22.5. So big hyper oof. However, you might notice now we're actually making a little bit more power. Yes, the capacity is quite a bit higher, because after literally 2 months I finally went ahead and I finished off the first stage of our turbo fuel power plant. So all the refineries in our base, all the compacted coal, everything is being used here. And the reason why I actually connected up the extra power stuff and finished up hooking this up was because I realized if we were running at about 23, 24, mainly 24,000 megawatts of power, after our manufacturing project with the crystal oscillators, we'd have blown the grid there anyway. So it was pretty necessary. And yeah, to double check we didn't run into issues in the future, I started resource sinking any materials that were still in the base, so we can literally get everything running. So the AI limiters, going into the bin. All of the rubber we're bringing into the base, going into bins. All of the quartz crystals, guess what? They're binned. So everything possible should be running. And now we know for a fact, with everything rocking and rolling, we're using about 24,000 megawatts. I've seen it go up to 27 though, so I'm gonna count 27. But the main thing is, we can confidently finish the rest of this project off. But now that we sorted all that, well, guess what? We can't build the crystal oscillator thing today anyway, because that just took up all my time figuring out this power issue. It was, a lot was booped. A lot was booped. So yeah, no crystal oscillators today. We will get to that in the next video, and it'll probably be like a 30-40 minute video. It's a big project. It's a big project. So we're gonna be doing something else, and this is something I've been a little bit concerned with. So you know what? Now is as good a time as any to deal with it, but it has to do with our train system. You see, we've been using up all of our train capacity pretty much. We have 2 train stations left in the entire base now. Like Petropolis took up 2, and these are the last 2. This is it. And we have like the entire world left of resources to gather. Like it's, oh, especially for what are they called? What's that horrific project? Oh yes, the high-speed connectors. Dude, let me tell you, these things are insane. The amount of quick wire they need, oh boy, just 50 quadrillion quick wire. That's hardly even an exaggeration. So we need more train capacity. And we don't have many options. Underneath this floor is the warehousing for the trains, so we can't have any trains underneath. Yeah, all taken up. And up above is just more and more machines. Yeah, like above the trains is our entire power network, so we don't really want to destroy that, especially just after fixing it. So we're kind of left with like 2 options really. And option 1 is we build a new train station inside the base just higher up. So we'd have this track coming in, it'd scoot off to the side maybe, go up this massive elevator and then, I don't know, enter somewhere in there, maybe up there, but we're not doing that. I'm just telling you right now. The amount of power it would take, it would look bad, and bringing trains to the space elevator height, it's insane. It's literally insane. Now, I'm a little crazy. I'm willing to admit that, but that is too far. That is too far. So what is option 2 then? Well, kind of the idea I've landed on is making a support structure for our entire main base here. And this is what we did in our first playthrough as well. We had a train station outside, and then we had a support tower that ran up the side of our base and just scooted in items when needed. So we're gonna be doing something like that here, except on a much bigger scale. And by that I mean pretty much converting the entire right side of our base into one super massive train station. So that's like covering half the biome in trains. And then of course we'd cover all of those trains in one giant building, and on top of that building we can do some of the basic processing, like smelting and just using constructors and stuff like that, because we've filled in a lot of this giant square already. And there's only like, what is it, 160, there's only like 320 smelters in there, which is nothing. Nothing compared to what we need. We need thousands. Like, we're gonna be getting most of the items in the entire world. And if we're already close to capacity in our main base, we have a problem. Oh yeah, and you're probably wondering what the heck is up with the train tracks that are already here. And they're part of a side project I've been working on behind the scenes. Not exactly behind the scenes. I've been streaming it over on Twitch. But it is for a water project, a super massive water project. We have run into the "we need more water" issue too many times now. So I went ahead and I finished our water packaging plant way over here and added in a train line in order to bring all the packaged water back to base. So this was from a long time ago. Like, the power plant stuff was like, what is it, 2 months ago now or something? 20 episodes? Craziness. Anyway, we're packaging all the water here for our turbo fuel power plant that we have running right now. And this is where all the water comes from. However, to finish off that turbo fuel power plant, we needed a lot more water because we have a lot more oil that can be scooped up, and we need water to dilute it and turn it into fuel, etc., etc. So we built all of these water extractors all nice and cleanly here and left them all kind of just afloat until the stream where I was like, yo, enough. Let's pack it up, brother. Let's move, let's groove. So we have 85 refineries here. Yes, 85 refineries. All for the sole purpose of packaging water. That's it. Every single one is just packaging water. Oh, and they changed the little icon for that. It used to be 3 water bottles, now it's just the 1. I like that. Anyway, distracted. Yes, all of this is for packing water. The water is packed up, it's pretty straightforward. It is sent into a train, and then another train brings the unpacked water back to be refilled again. Pretty much the whole system's done. We have the caster balancer ready to go. All of the belt work here is hooked up, the power's hooked up, and the train system is good to go too. Actually, some of you have probably noticed as I've been looking at the map here, there's like the random train station back here. Well, yeah, this is where I was planning to unload all the water at and make like a giant water reservoir right in the middle of the desert there. But now that we're gonna be building a giant train station over here already, having this already cut through is a little weird. But you know what, still, I do want the water still back there. So we're gonna leave that be. And then we'll bring up the water from back there, up a spine. Yeah. I've just done all the belt work already and I just don't wanna redo it. That's kind of like the main thing. So we're just gonna leave this be and add on train stations to the left and to the right. Okay, cool. So that's explained. We know what's going on. Now we have to act. Let's build our train station. Do I have concrete? You better believe it. How big of a train station do we wanna make? Well, we need it to be infinitely expandable, right? So, massive. Yeah. Super, super massive. And what level should we build at? Well, underneath, of course, we want to do all of the belt work, right? And since there's already a ton of belt work here, we need quite a bit of space. And you know, I'm looking at this height right here, and I think this should be good. Okay, so let's just start building over on this side here. We're also gonna build this train station a little bit further back because we don't want like the main view of our base to be obstructed by this. And then, since every train station is about 4 platforms wide now, correct? Ooh, a 4 and a bit. Yeah, we'll go and count out how many train stations we can fit from here to there. We'll go every 5 tiles, and that'll be the wiggle room we give ourselves. Okay, and I think this is pretty good. I still want there to be a bit of a gap between this building and our base. Like, this is a separate building, and if we have a bunch of towers and bridges going across to the main base, that is gonna look really, 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 really good from like afar. So we wanna keep that look. Now, how many train stations have I counted out here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All this room for 6 extra train stations, eh? And also, we can have train stations kind of like layered behind each other. Like pretty much exactly how we've designed our first train station here. So this train station in front, train station behind. Yeah, that's pretty good. In fact, you know what? All in, we're gonna be pretty much copying this train station exactly. Because this train station, in my opinion, is perfect. Like without train collision, it's pretty much perfect. It's all one giant loop. Everything's been working out so far, and I'm sure it will continue to. So it'll be the same design exactly. And now, like I said, it's time for action. Area actions. Okay, because we're gonna be building a super huge platform here, and I don't wanna do it all by hand, right? No, let's save ourselves a couple minutes. Couple minutes, I say, couple hours here. So we select that building. You wanna go out how far? Or how far do we wanna fill? Well, the green arrow is facing towards us, so we want this to be a negative number to go in the opposite direction. And counting out the platforms is, for chumps, we'll guess 35 as the length here. Preview it. See that we're completely wrong by about, only by about 4 platforms. All right, perfect. And then we want to go out in this direction now. So the red arrow facing that way. Let's go out, 50? Ooh, that's scary. That's a scary big project. Maybe this is too high up. Yeah, once we press OK, this thing is done. So let's not do it here. It's just too high up. I'm just thinking like from afar, it's gonna look super weird, especially with all of this space being like dead space effectively. Okay, so instead, we're gonna go as low as we pretty much can go. We're gonna go 3 walls above that belt underneath, and then do the same thing again. All right, so round 2 here, and we are much lower. This works out pretty well. We'll only be able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stations. No, that's fine. All right, we're gonna leave a little bit of space in between here. Obviously, we wanna see the steel engines rocking and rolling. We have the windows in our first steel factory too. Don't wanna dismiss that. You gotta think of like everything here. You have the few belts in front, but all you really need is like the inbound train line and the outbound train line, and now there's a timer on us. Okay, let's just say okay. YOLO, 1,000 buildings done. Kaboom. And thankfully, everything ended up working out. The whole train station is measured out correctly. We only managed to get 5 stations though because of the turn radius of the rails, but that's okay, because now we'll have an extra 10 stations we didn't have before. And also design-wise, I was considering what we could do, and I was initially planning to have all of the storage bins like underneath the train stations, kind of how we've done in our main station. But then I was like, wait a second, all of the items will have to go up. Why would I bring them down and then back up again? It's just like, please, dude. So we're gonna actually have a floor on top with all the storage containers. We'll organize all the belts. We'll have all of the item spines on the left side, since there is quite a chunk of room there for some more item spines and stuff like that. And then, yeah, on the right side, we stack up all the machines. We might stack up more train stations and go into like space. And once we run out of room again, we'll mirror that exact same train station over on the right, and then we can use our steel foundry area as kind of like a centerpiece. And the whole thing should turn out pretty neat. However though, I have really run out of time today, so we're gonna have to call this one a little short, but don't worry, I'll more than make up for it in the next video. So if you enjoyed, please remember to leave a like, and I hope to see you in the next video. But have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.